I just want to start off with one day late, but happy birthday Marine Corps, 244 years going strong. And today is actually Veterans Day, so thank you to everyone, past and present, that is in our armed services. We greatly appreciate it. My wife and I, we both served in the Marine Corps, so we take it to heart on days like this. Actually, really every day, but you know, it's a little more publicized on days like today and yesterday and stuff. So thank you for all of our armed forces out there. But anyways, today we are going to go over, we just took our stock 33s off this Jeep about 2 weeks ago. I've done some driving on it, seen all the issues, positive and negative, but we jumped all the way to 40s on this thing. I'm gonna take you on a quick walk around of this Jeep, but just to inform, and oh my goodness, this is crazy, but I've got my little 4-month-old and my wife behind the camera, and he just projectile. But anyways, everyone, so this is a 2020 Jeep Rubicon JL, and I'm sitting with the 4-cylinder turbo engine. I'm still on the stock Dana 44, heavy duty is what Dana says, but with the 14 gear ratios. So I will go ahead and take on a lap around it, go ahead and show you what the lift is that we put on there, how big the lift is, what we've done to modify the fenders and everything. And then we will also check on fuel mileage in town, on the interstate, and then how it actually rides on 40s, because if you don't know, a lot of people, after they surpass 37s on their vehicle, they throw beads in it. This is my first time ever having beads instead of wheel weights to balance it out, and it is quite a bit different. But in the long run, I honestly think it's a lot better. And my wife just wants to see how small the little guy looks beside that big old tire. Right, buddy? All right, to start our walk around of this bad boy, I need to move it over into the sunlight. There we go, now that she's out in the sunlight. To start, I'm guessing a lot of people can tell, this is a JK bumper. It's my buddy's. Randomly one day, he's like, hey man, I want a nubby. So we took the saw to it, cut it right off. But he still had it sitting at his house because the tires don't fit with the stock Rubicon bumper, and we don't have the one that you can disconnect the corners. So we just threw this on there until we can figure out what actual bumper we want. Not that I think it even looks all that bad, other than my wife pointed out it's not even over here. I need to get them even. You can tell this side's a little longer, but it happens, and it wasn't my bumper at the time or anything, so he said cut it, so I just cut it. Next, we took out all of our inner lining here, which I'm still waiting on. I believe it's called Adventure American Lab or American Adventure Lab, that has the LEDs that go right here. Has the bracket to make this sturdy again, because you can see my little home job for right now to give it some type of stability until those actually come in that have the bracket to keep it nice and firm. Moving over into the lift kit, I've just got the 2-inch ready lift in there. Just spacers is all it is, and then on the shocks, just a bracket to move it up a couple inches is all it is, and that is the same for the rear. Climb under here, same thing here, both sides. So it is your basic lift. Also took out the inner fenders for here as well. Gonna need to get something for there because that does look pretty rough. One really nice thing though is found somebody that didn't want these inner fenders, so whenever we ripped out those, was able to pop those in for only 70 bucks. 70 bucks. And I will go over the official price for all this stuff at the end of the video, because it's gonna take me a little bit to calculate it all up. Then for the actual tires, your 1350 40-inch Gladiators on a 17-inch rim, Black Rhino 17x10s. Also to add for the trimming, as you can tell, the stock rock sliders are right here. I'm going to have to notch off about 3/4 of an inch on the front and rear of them to where the tires will easily clear it. And even with this, there is a very faint little rub. I left that plastic in there. I thought it looked better than taking it out, but it will just barely nick it at full articulation and at full turn. It'll just barely nick that plastic. One last thing. I know this is a question a lot of people have. I am running the stock 40 on the stock tailgate, no swing out or anything, but just to be safe on distance and diameter, I did go ahead and put the relocation bracket that moves it 2 inches higher. All it is, rough country bracket, that's all it is, but it moved it up 2 inches to where it could easily clear. And for everyone that says I'm going to completely mess it up and everything, the guy that I got this setup off of, he was running it on there, and he said he's ran 4 Jeeps with a 40-inch on the stock holder on the back and never had an issue, wheeled them and everything. So we're at 2 weeks right now, give or take, you know, a couple of days. Absolutely 0 issues, doesn't rattle, nothing. So as of right now, it still works. I may learn a lesson, you know, months down the road if it gets ripped off somehow, but as of right now, she's working perfect. Now to go ahead and jump into the beastly Jeep, which, thank you Jeep for putting a oh crap handle right there. It makes life 10 times easier. Now something I did do, which need TPMS, but we'll take that. And all the issues with still waiting on UPS to send me all that stuff. Thanks guys. And UPS actually just drove by and didn't drop off the package. But anyways, I also did take the Jeep back to Dodge, and they went ahead and recalibrated my gauge. Oh, almost dropped the GoPro. Recalibrated the gauge 240, so now it actually does rewrite, which gives me a whole lot of faith in being able to run the stock gears for right now, because we are the weekend off-roaders right now. We don't go beat it every 2 to 3 days. We probably go off-road about every other weekend, give or take. And I'm not gonna sit here and just destroy it and beat the living daylights out of it. And this video is more or less for your typical person, because most people don't even off-road their Jeep. They just want big tires on it and for it to look cool. But anyways, we will go ahead. Wait, let's see here. Hold on, yeah. Let me get to what you all really want to know. There you go. That is my in-town so far. Let's see if I can get to... Okay, after 65 miles, that's my in-town. And those are short little quick drives of, no joke, 2-3 miles at a time. So a lot of stop and go, everything. So it's really about the worst calculation I can get. So 17 miles to the gallon almost, in town on 40, stock gears, everything. Granted, it did say like 14 before recalibrating the gauge, but now that's recalibrated, it went up about 2.5. If anybody's got a stopwatch, get it out, get it ready. I'm gonna do a 0 to 60. Well, a decent one. Here we go. And 60. So yes, it is not a race car by any means, but it's really not that bad. It is a Jeep Wrangler. It's not made to be racing anyone or doing anything crazy. But here in a second, I'll shut my mouth and let you all listen, and you all can probably see the little bit of bounce I've got where the tires need rolled out. But this is on the highway doing 60 miles per hour. Now to end the awkward silence, says right now the current MPG on the highway doing 60 is roughly 23 to 24, and it's fluctuating back and forth just due to, well, I'm using my foot, I'm not on cruise control, and I live in the mountains, so that doesn't make it any better. Here in a second we will jump to some back road driving just to see that, and then we will finally jump on the interstate, because I will reset my average MPG just to see what the actual interstate is, because I've not actually checked that yet. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, get an extra 2-3 miles to a gallon. But to be perfectly honest, it's throwing a big, huge brick through the air at 70 miles an hour, so I'm kind of down it right now. A full 10 seconds later, let me go ahead and reset the fuel, which is only going to be a couple miles, so it won't be crazy accurate, to be honest. But it is kind of a fun little trip down memory lane, because we were on the road I grew up in, but it's very curvy, hilly, everything, so on and off the gas, back and forth. So I figured give us the worst possible estimate that we could get. And this is actually where the channel started, a little over 2 years ago. So now you can hear the tire noise now that the wind noise is gone. Now to get rid of the awkward silence again, the Jeep actually does handle great. Now, granted, everyone needs to know this. Being this is 2020, I had this setup put on, or my buddy and I, we lifted it, we put this setup on at roughly 2,000 miles. So yes, I'm on all stock components, but all the stock components are still basically brand new. So they haven't had time to wear out or anything. I'm sure by probably 20-30,000 miles, it will start catching up to the Jeep. But by then, everything will be rebuilt and upgraded anyways. So that's not a big ordeal to me. But anyone that wants to run this setup for a long, long time, and is not expecting to have to put more money into it to keep up with the maintenance on it, I'll go ahead and tell you were highly incorrect. All right, there we go, everyone. We are now jumping onto the interstate. It said in town after hitting a few red lights. I drove around my whole hometown and it came out to 18.5. So actually that's ridiculously good. Almost makes me worry. Might be calling it the Liometer here pretty soon instead of the fuel mileage. But anyways, jumping on the interstate, I will go ahead and reset now. Let's see here. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it on cruise control right at 70. Well, if it chooses to stay at 70, let me say that. To be honest, I don't think I've used cruise control while this Jeep has had 40s on it. So I guess the cruise control might be fighting it a little bit, or the 40s might be fighting the cruise control, I guess. There we go. We're at 69. All right, we'll just leave it there. Not looking too hot right now, though. I was hoping for a better fuel mileage on the interstate. Doesn't look like it. And now you get the typical Jeep thing of a lot of wind noise. But as you can tell, the tires aren't actually that bad. I believe the wind noise is worse than the tires. And you can see a little bit of bounce in the Jeep. It's where, once again, I'm running beads, not wheel weights, so it's taking a second for the beads to catch up. But also, there we go, let's hit a straight line. There you go. I mean, the Jeep drives fine. There's no big issues. It still responds very well. You can drive it with one finger. Granted, once again, brand new vehicle. All the components aren't wore out. There's nothing to really worry about yet. Finally getting off the interstate. Have a lot of vehicles I have to wait on. So I guess I can go ahead and say I took about a 10-mile drive on the interstate, getting on and wasting all the fuel to get onto the interstate. But then on top of that, being able to slow down and get some of that fuel mileage back, it ended up at 19.4. So we came up just a little bit short of that 20, but still 19.4 miles to get on the interstate, running 40-inch tires, even a 1350, so extra wide wheels. Each tire is almost weighing 150 pounds a piece, plus the fifth wheel I have on the back that's also another 150 pounds. So I can't complain too much at all. Granted, if you have a different vehicle than a Jeep Wrangler, or even if you have the 6-cylinder 3.6 liter, it's going to be a lot different. I didn't hit the 20 on the interstate, but actually my way back in town, I'm actually sitting at 21 miles to go right now. But anyways, we're about to pull in. We will jump to the pricing of all this and what it really takes to run 40s, but the actual great way to do it and stay extremely, extremely cheap. Here we go, we're back at the house now, and just to make me feel nice and small, I've got the 40 here behind me. But anyways, jumping right into it. So these wheels and tires brand new for all 5 would roughly be $3,750, mounting, balancing, shipping, everything. So you're looking a little over $4,000. So I'm gonna go through all the generic prices of just buying all this stuff new. Then I will go into where I got my stuff and how much cheaper it really was. So then I think those, I was told, I didn't double check on this one, but those inner fenders were about 250 bucks new. So, and obviously I'm not doing tax, or actually let's just take all taxes, shipping, and all that stuff out. So right now we're sitting right at $4,000. Then I bought those American Adventure Lab LED lights and everything. Those were $300 before taxes or anything. Then the Ready Lift I paid, I think it's 400. Yeah, 400. So there's that. Then adding on this back bracket here, the Rough Country one, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think it was about 150, I believe. All right, so right there, we're looking at 4,850 bucks. So yeah, that kind of sucks. And the rest of the stuff was just me taking parts off to where it didn't actually make any difference. And for us, did it ourselves, between me and a buddy, we did all this ourselves, so we don't pay for any labor. So all right, so let's just go ahead and round up a few bucks. Let's say $5 grand. All right, so we're sitting at $5 grand. All right, so what did I actually pay for it? Wheels and tires combined together, all 5, $1,600. Then moving on up, those inner fenders paid 70 bucks for. Then that bracket I paid $92 for. Then let's see, what else was there? The lift I paid $260. All right, I think that's it. There's no way. I came out that cheap? Whoa, no way. I've got to miss something. Oh, recalibrating the speedometer. So add that to both of these. So actually that would put it at roughly right at $5,000 earlier without any real rounding. So let's go ahead and add 190 to that. So right there, $2,212 is roughly what I am at for this whole setup. Granted, we did it ourselves in my garage, so no labor or anything like that. But 600 bucks for wheels and tires, dude, I never really believed in it. Facebook Marketplace, man. A guy had these on his Jeep for 200 miles, and some bad circumstances came up to where he had to start daily driving his Jeep on 40s. So then he immediately went back to stock tires because he drives like 1,000 miles a week or something like that because he's a traveler. So I got these for 600 bucks. I think that's a pretty good discount. Less than half of what it should have cost. So 600 bucks for that. The inner fender's 70 bucks over 250. I'll take it. Only saved a little over 50 bucks for the spare tire mount adjustment. Then 260 for the lift one, it should have been 400. Almost all this stuff was found on Facebook Marketplace, and the inner fenders and the wheels, tires, everything was brand new except for 200 miles on the tires. Other than that, everything was brand new. So and actually there's another set of 40s right now on Facebook Marketplace. It's a local guy here, but wanted to trade from his 40s to his 37s just because he doesn't like rolling 40s. I don't know if it's too big for him, I don't know, but he's willing to trade anybody with 37s right now for his brand new 40s. So I mean, go on Facebook Marketplace. I don't get paid to say it, but holy crap, it saved me, it's $5 grand, so 12. So 5 minus, it saved me almost 2,800 bucks. So I will definitely take it. But anyways, guys, I hope this video helps you out in some way. If it does, please give it a big thumbs up. Stop by for the first time. Please subscribe. You'll have a great day.